I want to go back to the environment that you were in, because this is something that could be hard for some people to understand, especially if they're not around crime or around any level of poverty. Uh, so, so tell us that story. Like what were the influences around you, or if you want to get into this, like what was absent in that environment that led you to start seeing the world the way that you did?
No, that's a great question. To this day, I still reflect to try to find any little nugget of my life back then to figure out, what really led to that decision of thinking it was okay to take another human being's life. And I can point to a lot of, memories within my experience growing up in a poor community where I visually saw violence every single day, whether it's in the street or at school, especially when it came to racial violence. I am Mexican American. I grew up in a neighborhood where in the outskirts there were predominant white families, and I'm a little light skinned. I have those blue eyes, and for me it was like battling in the middle between my culture, Mexican American, and different other cultures. And so there was always experiencing that violence, the racial hatred, which really pushed me to choose, which side I was on. But when I look at my school experiences and the lack of opportunities where, when kids get in trouble, I remember just getting into a school fight over, school lunch and being challenged with law enforcement over issues that kids will experience through maturity. For me, was an experience that kind of taught me that punishment was always the answer towards your kind of actions, even as a young kid. And so instead of being talked to, there were a lot of desperate times where I just wanted somebody to talk to. I wanted an adult to help me understand my feelings and the lack of opportunities I didn't have. And just especially when it came to my social identity as a 13, 14-year-old kid, and where my life was supposed to fit in my community, and I never had that. And so instead of having counseling or an adult to talk to, schools would respond by suspending you, putting you on timeout in the classroom or expelling you. And those kind of responses, at least to me in my young mind, didn't fill that void that I needed. It was more punitive response instead of a loving response that I needed from my community. And so when I look at those things, those little tiny moments in my life that then pushed me to then say, well, if I'm not going to get the love and attention that I need from the people at school or from the kid, I'm going to figure it out my own way. And that's what I ended up doing. I figured out what love looked like for me. And most of the time that being with my cousins or my friends on the street corner, and trying to figure out our own emotions and how to deal with our own emotions. And drugs usually helped kind of stuff those emotions inside. Um, and unfortunately, when it comes to drugs, when it comes to kids, with no adult figure in their life, you know, morals and values are definitely going to look very different than what our community morals and values are. And those morals and values that my mother and father brought from Mexico to teach me, all those went out the window. And so it was really big opportunities that I didn't receive in my life that I desperately needed at that time.